What the hell? Welcome to another episode of What the Hell. And this is a very long overdue review of Loki. So we both kind of need to give our balls a tug there, tit fucker.
Yep.
I think we dropped the ball massively on this one.
Yeah, because we finished it up and we let it, God, a month and a half. We let it simmer.
Yeah.
And it was actually really good.
It was. I enjoyed it. And for me, you know, kind of a silver lining to us taking so long to get to this is the fact that we don't have to post spoiler warnings on the description.
I know, right?
Because if you haven't watched Loki yet, then you, my fine feathered listener, are the one that needs to give your balls a tug there, tit fucker.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, the only strange thing about this that I came out off of Loki is the fact that how would the Loki from, I guess it would be 616, Marvel Universe.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the universe there. I don't know what the actual universe for it is. And the Loki, the female Loki from the other universe, because they're having a little romantic spiel for that.
Yeah.
And how would that work?
Right. Well,
Because technically, if you look at it, it's two different DNAs.
it is two different genders.
Because she even said she's not a frost giant.
Yeah, she's not a frost giant. But she did say that she was adopted, and her parents told her. Honestly, I think, and we may never see it, but I would love to see a spinoff of her, of Sylvie.
Well, actually,
Because she didn't want to be called Loki. She was like, no, don't call me that.
Yeah, and Sylvie is was the let me think. Young Avengers. She was in the comics. She was part of the Young Avengers, and she was named the Enchantress. It's totally like night and day type storylines. The other thing on this is people are speculating they're setting everything up as Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah,
as the villain.
Yeah, because with the what was his character's name here? He Who Remains is a variant of King the Conqueror, because it came out later that the last episode, if you sync up the last episode of Scarlet Witch with the last episode, that scene into the last episode of Loki, when He Who Remains kind of looks off and he smiles and he's like, he makes his remark. It's at the same time that the Scarlet Witch became Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people, they were putting together a synopsis of when it actually happened.
Yes, I mean, it sets up the whole multiverse for Phase 4. And I think we're ultimately going to see...
Was this Phase 4 or was it Phase 5?
No, this is Phase 4. We're in Phase 4 now. But I think our Infinity War / Endgame event for Phase 4 is going to be the Multiverse Wars. I really do.
It might be.
And if King the Conqueror, because King the Conqueror is supposed to be the bad guy, the ultimate bad guy, that everybody's going to end up working their way up to. And
yeah, because he's actually playing Kang the Conqueror in the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Quantum Mania. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because at the end of the series, you saw those timelines start to branch off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that Marvel kind of jumped on it, and honestly, I think that the political Arena kind of copied it a little bit. They used the term variant a lot throughout the Loki series, and now we're sitting here talking about the Delta variant of the COVID vaccine or the COVID virus, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that because when the first time I heard them describe the new strain as a variant, I was like, I had to chuckle. I was just like, yeah, somebody watches Marvel too much,
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but it's like, come up with something original, you bastards. I mean, come on.
You do realize they've used variants for diseases all the time.
Yeah,
right?
I realize that, but just the timing, again, we're,
and they filmed this way ahead before that.
they did, but it's still, it's
It's a nice little coinky dink.
it is, it's just kind of one of those,
Funny coinky dink, really.
it kind of makes you stop and step back and kind of go, what if we're a comic book storyline for an alternate universe?
I've always had this theory that people that actually write stories and everything, that the people that actually write the stuff create either they create the universe with their thoughts, and this is just me talking, not
Yeah.
it sounds crazy, but they can actually peer into different universes, and that's what they get their ideas from.
Yeah. Well, one thing that the one thing that I did enjoy was Jamie Alexander. She reprised her role as Sif, Lady Sif.
Yeah.
And then they later came out and said that Lady Sif is going to become, again, a part of the MCU. She's going to come back to Marvel, and she's going to reprise that role in a cinematic in a cinematic appearance.
Another actor that I really liked in this was Richard E. Grant, who played classic Loki.
That was best. I mean, the classic comic book outfit. He's just this old English guy. I'm just like, it just, to me, that was cool. Like, to see the different variants
of Loki, yeah.
Of Loki, and then for whatever reason, it's not canon, but I guess it is now. But Crocodile Loki.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Because I think, what it was, and I saw a meme that made me think of this, was somebody at Disney was like, okay, so Baby Yoda sales are dropping, we need something new. And then Marvel Studios said, hold my beer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, that would be great. I would love to see a spin-off of classic Loki, because he was just kind of this harmless, bumbling coward, right? But at the end, at the very last episode, he uses his powers to create this huge illusion of Asgard.
Mm-hmm.
And he held it until he was eventually overtaken.
Well, that was going back kind of towards the end of Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
Where Loki eventually, even though he was with the Osborn, killing all the Asgards and everything like that, he ended up like sacrificing himself to create a better world for the Asgards. But another little shine in was when Loki was trying to get voted in the comics as president of the United States. That's the reason why that one Loki was in a suit. He had a button.
He
on
had the campaign button. Yeah.
Yeah. That was I like that little storyline.
Yeah.
And that it was funny because he was like, "Well, I'm already the god of lies. I mean, you've already voted a lot of liars, so
yeah,
you
that's
know,
just
I'm
a
already
natural evolution. Yeah.
Now you know that you already know I'm lying. I'm gonna lie to you."
I love the fact that Owen Wilson had a very substantive character in this story.
Yeah, Morbius.
Yeah. I mean, and it was like,
I like the bromance between them too.
yeah, because he could call Loki out on all of his crap, and he wasn't afraid to like stand up to him, like that when they were in that circus tent. and Loki was doing this huge monologue, and he's like, he's lying, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
It's like-
What's really sad is he was right on that instance.
he was,
and
yeah.
everything.
Kevin Feige, he noted that the character is similar to Wilson in that he's unfazed by the MCU. And Tom Hiddleston actually helped him prepare for the role by explaining and showing him moments from MCU films. So, you know, I mean, because when Mobius was interviewing Loki, and he kept bringing up all these key events throughout Loki's time in the first two phases, right? Or first three phases, rather.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he also looked at Robin Williams' character from Good Will Hunting as kind of like an inspiration for being a mentor and a therapist for Loki, right? Because they had kind of that Matt Damon Robin Williams dynamic a little bit, and like you would see moments where they were just kind of talking to each other, not as investigator variant. It was almost like they were the beginning of a friendship, and I would have absolutely loved for them for them to recite the line from Casablanca. I would have loved that, for Owen Wilson to look at him and say, "You know, Loki, this looks like the beginning of a beautiful friendship."
Yeah.
That would have been perfect. But at the very end, that end credit scene, when Loki came back to the TVA, and Mobius is sitting there, he's discussing something with another character, and they know that all the timelines are branching, and then when Loki comes in, Morbius is talking to him, but then at the very end, it's not like, holy crap, you know, he didn't have that like jog of memory or something to say, oh my God, Loki, you're right. He's like, you're an investigator. Go do your job.
Yeah, it's like they never knew each other.
Yeah, exactly. So I really want to know what was up with that, because
Well, think about it this way. What I think happened was they redid the timeline, and this is only speculation. Unlike some of the nerd stuff that goes out, I don't pinpoint until the actual stuff is actually done and said.
yeah,
It's still out of curiosity, and this is just my thoughts. Is Loki was outside the timeline, and none of the stuff that Loki did was ever done.
yeah,
That's the only thing I can think of. Basically, he deleted all the variants, even the past ones that. Because even in the beginning, there's always been a Loki and a Loki variant.
yeah, and that's right too, because when they were, why can I not think of the name of the creature that was in the void, the one that they battled?
It had a weird name, like Draconis or something like that. Alothic, the Cloud Dragon God.
Yeah, I don't know. Bad on me for missing that one, but
Cloud Dragon Dog.
Aloth's yeah, okay, so Aloth. So he took everything that the Aloth took everything out, like he overtook everything that was in the void. Because when Sylvie and Loki enchanted it, it opened up the curtain, and that's when they went to go see He Who Remains. It's like he reset everything. But then when Sylvie killed He Who Remains, he took that took out one of the King variants. I'm going to be really interested. It's going to be really interesting to see what Marvel does during Phase 4, because you're going to have Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. You're going to have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Spider-Man: No Way Home, which in itself is kind of funny because even though you and I both saw the same teaser, I legitimately think that was fan-made. Because Kevin Feige came out specifically and said they're not releasing a trailer for the movie because he said that when he wants fans to go to the theater, he wants them to know absolutely nothing.
Yeah, even the stuff for the cast.
Yeah.
There's no one for the cast.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Tom Holland, we know that Zendaya is going to be in it.
And Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be in it. And I think Doctor Strange is going to be the linchpin that holds the entirety of Phase 4 altogether. Interestingly enough, I saw an article today that James Gunn, he announced today, he teased, rather, that for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that major characters are going to die.
I can see that. They've always had a...
and at the very least, I expect Drax, at the very least, to die, because Dave Bautista, he's I love the guy. I mean, he's a decent actor, and the guy's got an amazing story, personal story, from basically coming up from nothing, working his way through WWE, and then becoming an actor, kind of a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's got these, for whatever reason, he doesn't like being on screen without a shirt on.
Well, technically he wasn't on screen with the shirt off. Because he was all...
I mean, his shirt off, rather. He doesn't like having his shirt off. Which I'm like, okay, dude, you were a wrestler.
Yeah,
that's all you ever did.
Yeah, he's
right?
pretty much in like tighty whities the entire time.
Tighty whities. God.
It's a callback.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if that was a callback for him being
that's
a wrestler.
Racist. That's a bit racist. But I see his time with the MCU kind of coming to an end, and they're going to wrap up Drax's storyline. There was an article that came out today or yesterday.
They could kill Gamora.
Re-kill her?
Yeah,
yeah, because you never saw at the end of Endgame. You never saw. I mean, there was a deleted scene where she was like way, way off in the background at Stark's funeral memorial service, and then she just walked away. You never saw what happened to her at the end of the battle.
Yeah.
With Thanos. So did she just kind of frizzle out, or whatever? But
well, the time stuff in Marvel Universe, for the Marvel Cinematic Universes, from looking at just even Loki, is those
that she might be a Gamora variant, yeah. Because when Thanos came back through time, or he went forward in time rather, to get the Infinity Stones without having to do all the work, he basically created a branch.
Yeah.
Because during the Loki series, he made reference when he was standing in front of the judge, Ravonna Renslayer, in the first episode. He's like, I'm not the one you need to be looking at. You need to look at the Avengers. And she goes, well, the Avengers were doing a job.
Yeah.
So it was like the TVA was hands off, with that. But I just thought it was kind of funny because, watching her character kind of progress through the storyline, you were like, oh, okay, she's a reluctant player in this whole TVA thing, and she's ultimately going to be one of the people that helps bring it down. But she's turning out, I think she's going to ultimately be like a bad guy, like a villain character.
It seemed like that in the first part.
Well, no, especially there at the end.
Yeah.
Because when Hunter D90 was, she was made aware of the fact that she is a variant, that she was not pruned from her timeline, but she was brought to the TVA from her timeline, and then her timeline was pruned. Just like the other hunter that was it B-15 when they were at that rocks cart.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just like, okay. And I love the fact too that in the first episode, that receptionist was like, "What is this?" And Loki's like, "It's the Tesseract." And the guy opens up the drawer in his desk, and he's got all the Infinity Stones there.
Mm-hmm.
And he just tosses it in there and shuts the drawer. Like, they're just casually playing with these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, huh, okay. I mean, there's so many little tiny microscopic Easter eggs.
Well, in the comics, there is I think it was during the War of the Realms. Loki goes into the story, and what it is the Infinity Stones don't really work in different universes.
Yeah.
So if you have a multiplicity of multiverses, that, if the Infinity Stones went to the MCU,
Yeah.
from 616, those Infinity Stones probably wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because there was a Loki that was Thor, and he had all the Infinity Stones, and he had a Mjolnir in his hand, and he went to Loki's universe, the 616, and the Infinity Stones didn't work, but he was still able to make a portal to the universe that he was originally at and do whatever.
And then, of course, Disney, being Disney these days, had to throw in its liberal view on things. Now, let me preface what I'm about to say. I do not disparage people who live that lifestyle, but they introduced Loki's bisexual nature because they were sitting on that train.
Yeah, they did a little blip of it.
It was just a little that quick, right? And I snap, and we were talking about Infinity Stones, but it was just so quick. It's kind of like the same thing that they did at the during the Rise of Skywalker, where they introduced the two lesbian rebel fighters.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, here, we're going to throw this on the screen, and most people, I mean, there was a lot of people that didn't catch it right at first, but enough people did catch it, and you got the LBGTQ, ABCD crowd, that they were just all excited because, yay, now he's the first queer character in the MCU. And it's like, I don't think they understand what that word means. And I'm even hesitant about giving it any kind of like, any kind of like, acknowledgement, just simply due to the fact that it may not be much of anything at all. It may have just been a line that they don't plan on exploring anymore after that.
Well, they explored it in the comics, and he is bisexual.
Well, I mean, I get that. But it's like, okay, focus on the story instead of placating to these different demographics,
Well, that's what pretty much they did. I mean, they just did it a blip, and it's over. And that's where it went on, really. I mean, it was a blip, it was there, it was like, okay, here we go, and back to the story.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really like. They didn't make it a story arc.
Yeah, and if they do, whatever. Let's so moving on. Kind of like a cool little fact. Sophia DiMartino, she played Sylvie.
Mm-hmm.
She had just given birth before they started production. Her costume was customized to allow her to pump between shootings.
And breastfeed.
Yeah, and breastfeed. Yeah.
Yeah, it had a.
If you look at the costume now, it's got those clasps like a breastfeeding bra does.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she would go to her trailer and breastfeed and pump.
Yeah.
And I thought that's kind of cool. You know, I mean, if you didn't catch it and you didn't notice it, you go back and watch it now, you're definitely going to see it. But it's you know, and this is not a misogynistic, perverted thing. It's we need to, breastfeeding is something that we need to normalize in public.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean,
it's ridiculous that
they've over-sexualized the breast, and I'm like, okay, I get that people have modesty standards and all that. You shouldn't expose kids to this, but yet you're dragging your kids to these pride parades. You're dragging your kids in front of R-rated movies. You're doing all. I mean, you're exposing your kids to so many other things. You're getting uptight about a nipple. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It wasn't until like I think 1958 to where men could actually show their nipples.
Yeah,
it's not just women. Women right now it's still going through the thing, but
well, at least women here.
Yeah.
I mean, over in Europe, it's not so much of a big thing. I mean, I think in like France and like the continental European countries, like they have full frontal nudity on their television programs on like network TV.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's. I mean, the fact that factoid was kind of put out there, I think is kind of cool. I mean, I really do. So, you know, it's kind of acknowledging, hey, look, you know, we know that you've got needs, and these costumes sometimes are a pain in the ass to get in and out of. We're going to make this one easy for you. And so it
was like Christian Bale tell Ben Affleck when he's like, hey, you have any kind of tips for me being Batman coming up? And he's like, yeah, make sure they'll have a zipper in the front so you can take a piss whenever you want.
Right. I like that. You know, a half-ass British accent. That's pretty good. The amp clap. It still sounds so wrong.
Oh, we're so childish. At times, we're so childish.
I am 12.
Oh, that was another thing, Maria. I mean, we didn't step on it because I think we recorded right after she told us was this weekend or last weekend was the 15th anniversary of Talladega Nights.
Yes, and as I've stated before, I was there for the final weekend of shooting at Talladega. Yeah. And it was so uncomfortable when they kissed at the start-finish line. Oh my God, it was so uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah, they get on the loudspeakers on the PA system there, and they tell people, all right, we're about to film the final scene for this movie. Regardless as to what happens, cheer, get rowdy, show them what Talladega is all about. And they do the fake little crash, you know, at the down there on the apron, and then you see Will Ferrell and Sacha Cohen get out and start running toward the start-finish line, right? That part was cool. People were legitimately cheering for it. And then when you saw the two guys stand up and they're having that exchange of dialogue and then they kiss right there at the start-finish line, right? There was a physical groan that came out of the crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had these like people that are just like if you look at that shot in the movie, there's not a single fan looking at them. They're all looking at cameras because there's like 15 different cameras, you know, around that area.
Yeah.
Right? They're all looking at a camera. They're not looking at what's going on, but they're cheering while they're looking at the camera. And it was it was single-handedly. I mean, you think about it. You're in Alabama, you know. I mean, you're going to get your stereotypical Alabamans that are going to be, or is it Alabamites? That's Alabamans. Oh, we're just going to go with that. Alabama residents, right? That you know, ding 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 ding. You know, your mouth looks real pretty, boy. You know, you're going to get that. You know, that stereotype out there. Not that it exists in real life. It may. I don't care. Whatever. Do you thing. Whatever. Do you, boo boo. But just. You had these, for the most part, staunchly conservative NASCAR fans, and there's these two guys making out at the start finish line, Talladega Superspeedway. And I mean, just these everybody's just kind of going, hey, yeah, you know.
I think it was more or less the whole. Wasn't expecting that.
No, we weren't. Oh my God, no. But it was kind of cool though to see how they do the on-screen the on-track shots. Right? They've got the two. I mean, they're basically show cars. They've got V6s in them. You know, they're not up to spec Cup cars, right? And then they've got another car that's basically got little to no body. It might have a little bit of a front end on it just for like aerodynamic purposes, holding up the air quotes there. And then they've got this huge cage that's welded to the body, right, to the frame.
Yeah.
And it's got seats for a couple different camera operators, and they've got booms for the different cameras, like high cameras for the high shots, low shots, and for like the middle shots where they're looking into the windshields, right? And the two cars, Jean Girard's, he's a French driver. You know, he was Sacha Cohen's character.
I like crepes.
I like crepes. They're like really, really thin pancakes. Say it, I will break your arm. By the way, I watched Highlander. That movie was shit. Yeah. Anyways, it would seem, Ricky Bobby, that you have beaten me. There was only one thing that I require from you. Anyway.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
So the two cars, I mean, Jean Girard's Perrier car and Ricky Bobby's self-sponsored car with the goddamn cougar on the hood. You know.
Yeah.
They're beating and banging, going around the track, and they're just following this camera car. I mean, they're still probably running easy over 100 miles an hour. I mean, you kind of have to just to keep the car from sliding down the asphalt or down the concrete whenever they're coming through those turns, because those are like 35-degree banking.
Really?
Yeah, you can't walk up that. You have to crawl up that to get to the catch fence in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Wow.
The Talladega itself is like a 2.5 mile long track, right? And like whenever you come in off of Speedway Boulevard there in Talladega and you go through the archway that says "Welcome to Talladega," or "This is Talladega," the only thing that you can see of the track immediately is that catch fence from turns 3 and 4. And you never really get a scope for the size of this place until you go into the track. And I had a really cool experience with that that weekend that I went. And we go in and we walk up the stairs for the Tri-Oval Tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I walk through the entryway to the stands, and this just whole place just opens up. I mean, it's all there, right? And it was just absolutely breathtaking. And it's really kind of humbling, because it's like you're sitting here going, you know, I've been to, half-mile tracks, I've been to quarter-mile tracks, I've been to, the mile-and-a-half cookie-cutter tracks. The tri-ovals like Texas Motor Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
But this was my first restrictor plate track. An actual super speedway where, guys hate running here because they constantly wreck. Because, when you're operating cars at that speed, I mean, if you were to literally put your hand out the window and you could push another car away from you. Because like when you're in your street car and you get it toward the top end of your speedometer, you feel like your car floats a little bit. I mean, these cars are they're glued to the track a little bit because of the aerodynamic packages, but the air still moves them around. Because if you watch those races, those guys, they're running at about 200 miles an hour, about 6 inches off of each other's doors, and they're buffing around because the air is just so violent ripping through that pack.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool to see, but that the whole thing there was a cool experience for me, and because it was part of a men's retreat weekend with a buddy of mine named Randy Holloway, and so we got to be ushers. We basically got paid to go to the races that whole weekend. We got to see the ARCA race. We got to see the truck race, and then we got to see the Cup race on Sunday, plus all the qualifying. So I mean, it was a cool experience, and I mean the money that we got paid from the track to be ushers paid for our entire weekend and include gas and lodging and all this, and our food. So it was a cool experience. I mean, it's one that I'd like to go do again. Maybe it's just strictly as a race fan. So that way I can enjoy the race, because as ushers, whenever there was a wreck on the track, we had to turn our backs to the action to make sure that people weren't throwing shit on the track.
Yeah.
Because Talladega what has been traditionally Earnhardt country. Dale Sr. and Dale Jr. won there a ton, right? And at one point, Dale Jr. won like 5 races consecutively at that track. But when Jeff Gordon, believe it was at that track, tied Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s win total, people were throwing beer cans on the track at his car.
Oh, wow.
I mean, total and completely classless move. And I'm like...
Kind of like a couple of weeks ago with the New York Yankees.
Yeah. When they threw that ball and hit Alex Verdugo in the back. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's the same thing. I mean, but these they're throwing full unopened beer cans at his car as he's doing a burnout down the front stretch. And I mean, these cans are under pressure. I mean, now granted, he's inside of his car, protected by sheet metal. He's got Lexan windshields, right? But the fact is that it's still inherently dangerous. I mean, it really is, because somebody can underthrow, hit another fan in the back of the head, or a can can, explode, and the pressure being released can launch that can into the pits, into the pits. I mean, there was a lot of potential for a lot of things to go south.
Well, it's the same factor of a flight line.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you get that, what is it called, FOD, right?
Yeah.
But getting back to Loki, I really liked the writing on this series. And the fact that they're going to come back with a season 2.
Mm-hmm. All in.
Yeah, I'm all in already. Just sign me up. Here, shut up and take my money.
Now, this weekend starts up. I don't know if we're going to be able to talk about it that much.
It's actually starting tomorrow.
Yeah. On Wednesday.
What if? The first episode's going to be Captain Carter.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be cool, because I'm really going to enjoy this phase.
Well, not even that. It's just I love the What If comics.
Yeah.
All of
remember that really really bad failed attempt that DC had at it, where
Elseworld?
Nah, I think it was Elseworld. Yeah, because
because Elseworld was actually pretty good.
Well, the issues that I read. Now, the one issue that stood out for me was when Kal-El landed in Gotham City instead of Smallville.
Oh, you're talking about Speeding Bullets.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, so Clark grew up as...
I like that comic.
Clark Wayne. He grew up as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And he had all the powers and everything, but instead of wearing the Superman costume, he was wearing the Batman costume.
And the orange or the yellow was kind of the homage to the Superman symbol, but it was had a bat in the center.
Yeah.
And Lex Luthor ended up turning to be the Joker. That I like that comic. In the time frame, it's like when
it came out, it was a distraction.
Yeah,
and it was something different
because it came in the time frame of Death of Superman.
It did, yeah. Because I mean, it gave people that specific issue. It gave people something to read, to follow the Last Son of Krypton, and it really kind of jump-started. I honestly think that DC would have left Superman dead had it not been for the fan outrage. I mean, like, there was an actual, honest-to-God, letter-writing campaign that started. I mean, there were people like, they were talking about never buying DC Comics ever again.
Hey, you ever hear the fun fact of Lois and Clark TV show? And
talking about the one with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about it?
In the comics? They couldn't marry the couple on the TV show until they married the couple in the comics first.
Oh, kind of like they were trying to avoid their own spoilers.
It was already done, and the time frame weren't actual. Well, okay, no, that wasn't it. I'm sorry, I finally remember what it was. They couldn't marry in the comics until they married in the show, and they were having a writing dispute of what they were going to do for the next year for the comics, because they kept on prolonging the wedding in the comics until they married on the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get Death of Superman.
Okay.
Because the show and that storyline started like right after, and the storyline for all of it took an entire year. Or two to 3 years.
You talking about the issues leading up to the death?
No, I'm talking about the whole thing.
Oh right, yeah. Because
I
I know that
I know that
the fight. Yeah, I know that the fight between Superman and Doomsday, it incorporated like the 4 different Superman titles that were out.
Well, here's the storyline on it. It was Death of Superman. You got that set of comics. Then you got Funeral for a Friend.
Yeah.
Then after that, you have The Reign of Superman, and that's when they ended it. And then I think probably around about...
It came out with the white issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I read that one. I opened up the bag and I read it because I'm like, whatever. Okay, so...
I bought 2.
Yeah. But you remember he met his dad, not Kal-El, but...
Jonathan Kent.
He met Jonathan Kent
Because in
heaven.
Because in the Death of Superman, or the Funeral for a Friend, that storyline, Jonathan Kent had a heart attack.
Yeah. So he got to talk to his dad in heaven, and his dad was like, "You need to go back." And then that's when they came out with this whole, his body was stolen from the crypt by the
Eradicator.
And he took it to this Fortress of Solitude where the
Crystal Matrix.
Yeah, the Crystal Matrix, and it was basically regenerating him. And that's when he came. When he came out, he had that iconic, very, very cool black suit.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad Zack Snyder included it in his cut, because everybody was like, "Oh, he needs to be wearing the black suit." And then when Joss Whedon came out with that monstrosity, that farce,
it was still the same suit. It just
but I expected so much more out of Joss Whedon. But then we come out to find later that Joss Whedon actually hates DC. Like, wow, okay.
Yeah, because Joss Whedon only worked for Marvel.
Yeah, but it wasn't until Joss Whedon left that we
comics.
finally got to hear Captain America utter the line, "Avengers, assemble."
Yeah.
Because it was at the end of, was it Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
Which was Joss Whedon's last Marvel movie. It was like you saw Steve Rogers go, "Avengers," and then as he's opening his mouth to say "assemble," they cut to credits, and I remember everybody in the theater was like, "Oh man, come on."
Well, what Joss Whedon said is he wanted the Avengers Assemble to actually mean something.
Yeah.
Which I understand, and it worked.
And the Russo brothers, God bless the Russo brothers, because when they wrote that line,
it wasn't them.
That wasn't them?
No, it was the writers that did the first Captain America.
Really?
Yeah, they actually wrote most of the Marvel movies.
I thought the Russo brothers wrote Endgame.
No, they directed Endgame. That's about it.
Well, still, God bless the Russo brothers, but yeah.
No, they literally...
To the writers, yeah. But that scene, when everybody's came back and they're coming through those wormholes.
Even the music for it.
Oh, the music was spot on. Who was that? Elvin Silvestri or something like that? I forget.
Hold on. Now you got me curious. I'll work fast because I already know what the title of it is.
Elvin Silvestri. Look at me. Woohoo! I won. I got one.
You get a cookie.
Yay. Snickerdoodle, please. But yeah, that score, like even thinking about that scene with the music.
Too bad we can't play it.
Oh man, I see. Look at that, dude. Goosebumps.
Yeah.
In the theater, absolutely hands down. I wanted to jump out of my seat and just yell out the words "fuck yeah," because I mean, dude, that was just so badass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and watching that with my kids, you know, they were just like, I mean, we were going absolutely apeshit ballistic, but you know, and then it. And that's one of the things too, because like you always hear about, you know, movies are great, or movies are good, but it's the score that makes the movie great.
Yeah, look at what happened with Star Wars.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They've actually
Star Wars without John Williams would have been nothing.
Exactly. They have viewings of certain scenes and everything to where it doesn't have the score, and then it does have the score,
Mm-hmm.
and it just
It makes it so much better.
Yeah.
And then you get back, then you walk outside the theater and you're back in reality, and you're like, how come I don't have a fucking soundtrack?
Yeah. What's really sad is
what would be the sound played when you got an erection? Doo doo doo. It'd be like the Windows logout sound.
Yeah.
Hey, there's that one TikTok sound or video. The guy, he was like, he's walking along, and then you hear the Avengers music play, and he's just like, he strikes the superhero pose, and I'm like, no.
You know what's sad? There's a study that if you actually do that pose, you feel a little bit better about yourself that day.
Yeah. Have you not noticed when I'm at work? I'm like, you'll see it tomorrow, because now that I've brought it to your attention, I occasionally will strike a superhero pose.
I do it all the time too, so I don't even. It doesn't even register because I do that. I do it too.
Yeah, you know, like
I think it's just that delegated night thing where I just don't know what to do with my hands.
right. Yeah, exactly. And for those of you who aren't watching us on YouTube, I've got both hands up in front of the microphone right now, and like I'm doing the Ricky Bobby thing. I don't know. And like, hey, just back off the microphone. You know?
Yeah.
Just keep your hands down by your side. But I think actually Alvin Silvestri, I think he wrote. I was thinking James Horner. James Horner is another one of those great composers. He was kind of struggling a little bit in Hollywood trying to write scores for movies, and then he was handed, because John Williams wrote the original music for Star Trek: The Motion Picture, right? And yeah, it was John Williams, I believe. Yes, I can say that. Anyways, so when Star Trek 2 came out, or was in production, they asked James Horner to write this, right? Couldn't have written it any better. Period. I'm either going to get vindicated or I'm going to get scolded.
You're going to get scolded. Jerry Goldsmith.
Was it Jerry Goldsmith?
Yep.
Oh, and Fred Steiner. Why was I thinking John Williams?
Because we got him on the mind right now.
John Williams. Oh, you know what it was? John Williams. Yes, he did Star Wars. He did Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Mm-hmm.
He did Jaws.
Yeah. He also did a TV movie beforehand.
Yeah.
And he was also part of the Air Force marching band.
Right. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Star Wars, I saw on Disney Plus. I don't know if you remember this, but back in the 80s, they did 2 made-for-TV Star Wars movies on Endor. Those are both on Disney Plus.
I know. That was another fun fact. Is most of the Stormtroopers were eaten by the Ewoks. And that's canon.
I wasn't ready for that at all. They were eaten by the Ewoks. Holy. Well, that would make sense because they were going to cook Han and Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where they got the helmets and everything. And they what's really funny is they made a little skit that Han and Leia and Chewbacca had to talk to the Ewoks to stop eating them.
Yeah.
Ewoks are vicious little SOBs.
Yeah, but then they get the guy that played Willow to play Wicket.
Actually, he's played a lot of George Lucas movies.
He has been.
He's been in every Star Wars movie.
That's right, he has. He has. Yeah, he has.
Actually, if you think about it, no, he hasn't been in every George Lucas movie, but every
He's
Star
been in
Wars
a ton of
movie.
Lucasfilm stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking at the list of composers for Star Trek movies, and John Williams isn't on this list. That's kind of sad. I'm kind of disappointed a little bit there. How epic would have that have been, though?
Well, the thing with John Williams is you can tell if it's a John Williams score.
Yeah, because it has that signature to it.
No, he literally has it to where the music says the title of the movie.
Really?
Think about Superman.
Okay, now I'm hearing it in my head now. Yeah. Okay, that's another great score. We have gotten so far away from Loki, but we're going to run with this.
No, we're still in the nerd category, so we're good.
Okay, so like when Superman Returns came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
My now ex-wife took me to go see that when it came out, right? I'm like giddy because I'm just sitting there like, it's Superman, it's Supes, he's back on the big screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you hear that dun 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 dun. I'm like, oh my God, you know.
Even better was when Superman appeared in the Joss Whedon version, and basically he said truth, justice, and you hear the Superman score, the small little tidbit of it from John Williams. That gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. Okay. So the scene in Superman Returns when he catches the plane and he sets it down in that in the baseball stadium, right? And it shows him on the big screen, and everybody is going absolutely ballistic. And you see Perry White just kind of standing there going, you know, he's the only one not jumping up and down for joy, but that score is just going completely crazy. It's running. I mean, it's narrating the scene basically.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, and it had all these like retro throwback Easter eggs, you know, because when he boards the plane, and he's like, well, I hope this hasn't sworn you off of flying, because statistically speaking, it is the safest way to travel.
Yeah, they did a callback on that. That was really cute.
I loved that. I was like, yes.
Well, I'm running through this.
And he always kept telling Lois, I'll be around.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God. And it wasn't for the fact that...
He's done so much.
It wasn't for the fact that he's doing Ray Palmer now for The Legends of Tomorrow. I would love to see them just kind of... just kick out these two movies, even if it's just direct to streaming. I don't care. I want to see the rest of that story arc played out.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at...
They would obviously need to recast Lex Luthor, because nobody wants to see the pedophile Kevin Spacey anymore. Just after he got outed on that list, he got blacklisted.
He's coming back.
Oh, is he?
Mm.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I forgot what it was, but he's doing a couple more movies that are... There we go.
All right, IMDb, don't fail me now.
Yeah.
The Billionaire Boys Club. Oh, that's such a bad title. Oh
my God, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, that's the first one. Actually, that came out in 2018.
He's doing a those look like a foreign film here.
Yeah.
And another movie called Gore.
It might be a foreign film. Young man spends a summer in Italy where he meets his idol Gore Villa, who
Gore Vidal
teach him about life, love, and politics. Oh my God, it's fucking horrible.
Oh. Well, these are American actors. Well,
And he's playing Gore Vidal, and well, no, they do this. Okay, on stuff like this, it's like that one actor or director or producer.
There's a guy who's playing the role of Johnny Carson in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, Jim Meskimen as Johnny Carson. Wow.
Yeah. Apparently, okay. God, that man, Johnny Carson probably had no money before he left. He died.
He didn't because his wife took everything.
Wives
took everything.
I know.
And that poor guy, he was so great.
I was listening to this one.
He originally was he was an intern.
Hmm?
And when the original host, at the time, for The Tonight Show, sick or drunk or something like that, the producer called him and said, "Hey, I need you to fill in." And he never gave up the seat until he retired.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. No, I was listening to Iconic History, or it's a history thing when I listen to it. It's on the Tether Paul podcast.
Now you confused Mia Khalifa with Mila Kunis earlier. Are you sure you're thinking Iconic History, or are you thinking Drunk History?
No, it's not Drunk History.
Okay, all right. I'm just putting it out there.
It's on the Tetherball.
And for those of you who are listening to this, if you want the inside track on that joke, you're gonna have to listen to the rest of our episodes.
Yeah. but they were talking about Johnny Carson. I got that little tidbit about his wives and everything. How he more or less didn't have any money, but they also said how rich you actually go, for sexuality and everything,
right.
Everything turns to shit afterwards. Not like, everything goes to the shit. No, everything sexually for these billionaires and everything, and eventually goes to shit because they've already pretty much done everything. Because the guy that did WikiLeaks,
yeah,
his fetish, like after he got caught and everything, was having a woman shit on him through a hammock, one of those like.
Yeah.
It's really.
I don't
weird.
get that, man. I really don't. Here's the thing.
I don't get anything.
Scatting, it's called scatting.
Anything with feces.
Yeah. Okay.
It's disgusting.
And maybe this is just me. I don't know, but I'm back off the microphone. It's not a dick. Okay.
That's a good conversational piece.
Right. Jesus, I opened up the door on that one. Anyways, so, God, there we go. Okay, so I guess I was just projecting that one, but
yeah.
So it's, for me at least, yeah, true. Everybody's got a kink. Everybody's got something, right? But. And because I know that there are certain people who listen to this show, I'm not going to divulge that information. It's not like out there. I mean, it's somewhere between.
Just get to the point.
It's somewhere between vanilla and Christian Grey, but it's not like role playing like. That's not.
You didn't put on like have her dress up as a succubus and dress up as a paladin and you almost kill her, did you?
No, and it's not like a pegging thing. It's not a pegging thing. It's.
Am I the only one that did that?
I'm the dominant. How about that?
Okay.
So let's just say that. Anyways, it can't be something to do with the money because the people they're already wired that way. The money just enabled them to live that out.
I think what it really is though is the fact that after you reach a certain status and everything, people come out of the woodworks and just talk shit about you. I mean, not the.
Yeah, but that's an oddly specific thing to talk shit about. mean,
Okay, think
pun
about
intended.
okay. Think about
I mean,
it this
especially if we're
way.
talking about Julian Assange, but
Yeah,
or
well,
Assange,
well,
but
think about it this way. Before the whole woke shit, or
Yeah.
not woke shit, but Harvey Weinstein.
yeah,
shit.
Harvey Weinstein, yeah,
I forget what his little spill was.
he was into kids and rape and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, he was a monster. Look at what happened
well,
with
he is a monster. He's still alive.
Lewis C. Clark.
Yeah,
I mean, he literally asked people. It's like, hey, can I masturbate while we're talking? Just out there. And if they said no, he wouldn't do it.
yeah,
And he got on that whole craze because I see what he did was
he
kind
was
of
an
wrong.
exhibitionist.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of see what he did was wrong in a way, but he still went out and like asked.
Yeah,
And if they said no, he wouldn't have done it. It's just one of those things. I mean,
But
there's
again,
several times that even Silverman said
you
that
break
he was
it down to its basic chemical composition. The people are already wired that way. Just the only factor that money played into it is that they had the money to enable those urges.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when people, I mean, if you walk around and you got at least a head, if you got enough common sense that God gave a block of wet concrete, it's smart enough to dry, right?
Mm-hmm.
If anything, the only thing that money should do, I know that we live in reality, but I reject reality and substitute my own. The only thing that money should realistically do to an individual is make them more philanthropic. Okay? Be more giving, be more charitable, that kind of a thing. I mean, yeah, you can squirrel away enough money to be selfish and get the things that you want. I mean, ultimately, because at the end of the day, we can't take it with us when we go. But these the people that you hear about that get into that kind of thing, they've got that kind of money to enable that kind of a lifestyle, somewhere along the way they lost their moral compass. And I have enough of a gag factor where it's like, if I hear somebody throw up,
Oh yeah.
it causes me to start gagging. But just the idea of somebody
Could you stop
taking
and don't do it?
the idea of somebody taking a dump, pinching off a Cleveland steamer on my chest. That's a reference to Tenacious D, by the way. Anyway.
I got you.
Okay, good, great. It makes my skin crawl. I mean, that, to me, that's vile. It really is.
Well, it's like the inmate when I was working corrections. I mean, I now know, and I wish I never knew, that the big Gatorade bottles that we get,
Yeah.
going to work and everything.
Yeah.
Did you know you can shove that up your ass, bully?
I'm going to say I wish I'd have never heard that.
Oh yeah. We had to throw away anytime we had to search his cell and everything like that.
Just fucking wow.
Yeah. But we had to make sure that every freaking time that we went in his cell, we had gloves, we had alcohol, the little stuff and everything like that after we're done with the gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had to throw away every bottle that was in his cell. And just going into his, you could smell his cell from like walking up to the rung. It was horrible. But on that note, if you made it this far, check us out on Facebook, Instagram.
Oh, y'all be fucked now.
Yeah. Twitter.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, fucking YouTube. Jesus. Oh my God. Spotify, Apple Podcast. Reach out to us via our instant messaging on our Facebook page. You could even send us a direct message at. I'm going to pull this up here. Hold on. That way I can.
You can direct message on Instagram too.
You can direct message on Instagram or at Angry Me Product, Product, PRODUCT1, the number 1, at on Twitter. I personally handle the Twitter account. Be advised, I am trying to clean up our Twitter feed. If I get a DM on Twitter, and I swear to God, if any of you heathens listening send a fucking dick pic, I will find out who you are, and I will spam the shit out of you with some of the most off the wall. I will find pictures of Tub Girl, and I will DM you a picture of Tub Girl once a day, every day.
What he's trying to do on this reference is he's more on Twitter and everything that I was, so I gave him the account. I was like, here, this is the Angry Me Production account. Have at it. So he did, and then he's like, dude, this is like Ted 2. I'm going to have to burn
Literally.
Oh, by the way, one last thing before we end this. Titans, the TV show that was on DC Universe, is coming back on Thursday.
On HBO Max.
On HBO Max. So.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm going to have to start. It's going to be dicey as far as the scheduling is concerned because Marvel's coming out with What If, and then Marvel's for the last quarter of this year. We're going to get our fill of Marvel. Marvel's kind of like giving back to the fans after having like a year and a half off, basically. I was wanting to check out that Titans show anyway, so now I'm going to have the chance to do that.
Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol, yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about that as well. But it's just the whole DC, and I'm like, okay, now granted, yes, the DC TV universe is a lot better than the DCU as far as like the cinematic universe.
Well, it can't touch CW DC universe or the Arrowverse.
Yeah, the Arrowverse. You know,
the best thing
I like Stephen Amell.
No.
I do.
Go ahead.
How can I put this gently? They need to end The Flash.
Yeah, Grant Gustin's even saying that he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Because the storylines are just they're being phoned in. Well, what's the premise now that the basic crux of the story is that he can't, the more he uses it, the faster he loses it?
No,
as far
not
as the
in
Speed
this,
Force?
No, not in the... Okay.
Or did they end that storyline?
They end that storyline.
Okay.
The new villain for this season was Godspeed. Which the whole storyline was... They didn't have a crisis this year, so I didn't watch it. Pretty much. The only thing I really watched was the Superman and Lois.
Was that any good? Because
that was really good.
Was it? Okay, I'll have to go try to find it.
It was like a mixture of Superman, the movies, like the first ones, kind of a mixture of that, and Smallville.
I really enjoyed Smallville.
Yeah,
I really did. I love the fact that Christopher Reeve was on Smallville. God, that was so awesome. And that the very last scene before they cut the credits on the last episode is you saw him rip his shirt open and he had the suit on. I thought that was kind of cool. You finally got to see Tom Welling wear the Superman costume. God, they really need to do more with that.
Yeah.
There was so much potential. Some of the storylines I think was like the last.
Well, one, he didn't really want to wear the suit, and it was a bunch of.
Yeah, but didn't he wear it in the?
He wore the top half. That was it.
Okay. I don't know what's going on there. Oh well.
Like, he didn't want to wear the suit. He just didn't.
Okay, and I know that we were trying to wrap this up, but I want your take on this real quick. You know about the Superman curse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you think that's going to play out for Henry Cavill?
It's not playing out all that bad for him. Because, he doesn't leave that much. I mean, he does exercises and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think it's because he's English.
Do you think?
I think so.
Well, because, Dean Cain wore it in Lois and Clark. He's still doing relatively well.
Yeah. But he's also, not like I don't know.
You know
I
what it
believe in
is,
curses
and I
everything
think
like that.
the devil's scared of Dean Cain, because he was friends with Chris Kyle.
Yeah, he was.
So maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
But anyways, I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
And this is What the Hell. I think I'm going to name this episode Loki and put in parentheses Ewoks 8 Stormtroopers.
No, you should just title it Ewoks Eat Stormtroopers, and then just
let them figure out where we're going.
just the old bait and switch.
Yep.
But until then, give your balls a tug, tit fuckers. We'll see you next week.
Later.